Okay guys, so today we are going to talk about glow plugs and their function and how they work, as well as different lengths and heat ranges, since some jackwagon said they were all the exact same. Well, I hate to tell you, buddy. Oh, I've been a mechanic for 50 years. Well, just because you were doesn't mean you know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, so here we go. Glow plugs. As we can see, there's quite a few different ones here. Trying to hold this right in the right position so it's not blurry for you guys. There we go. So, just minus that cylinder head for the moment. So we can see here, these two look much different than the rest. This is a gasoline glow plug. These are for a certain kind of airplane engine. Now, I have experimented with gasoline and these in an RC car before, and honestly, don't do it. It's a waste of time, waste your money. It doesn't make any power. It's hard to start. Just don't. Okay, don't do it. It's not worth your time. This guy right here is a 4-stroke glow plug for that engine. Right there, my OS70, FL70. And this guy and this guy right here are the most two common you're going to see in RC cars. A short or a long reach. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, oh, well, just use either one. It doesn't matter. Well, the problem is if you use a short reach plug and a standard reach cylinder head, like that head button, for example, that tip right there is going to be up farther inside that threaded area in here. And that will actually decrease your compression ratio, which you don't want. And being way up in there, it can also maybe mess with the flame travel and the swirling feature of when the all the gases are flowing in there, because you got to remember all those ports are open. Well, the exhaust port is open actually at the same time. So all those parts are open, and you want a swirling feature in there, and that might interfere with that. People don't understand that. Oh, it'll run fine. OS8 glow plugs go and everything. No, they don't. They're too short for most engines. Here's a standard reach plug. As you can see, it's physically longer. Wow, surprise, surprise. So these two are technically either one will run in either engine, short or long reach, but it's not the correct thing to do. You're not going to go out to your, I don't know, say your Ford dealership or something like that. You're not going to go and order a set of spark plugs for your 351 Cleveland and say, oh yeah, oh those are too expensive, John. Okay, well I'll just go to, Walmart and buy some Briggs & Stratton lawnmower spark plugs. Those will work just fine. Well, if that's all you got and you're in a bad situation, you get home, yeah, sure, they'll work. But is it the correct thing to do? No. Is it the right thing to do? No. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with these engines here. I don't understand why the fuck people have such a hard time understanding that. The manufacturer has done all the math for you. They have provided the information right in the book just for you to understand how these things work. Just like when you have your Ford pickup truck and they say, oh, yeah, it takes a auto light, whatever. Why the hell would you put anything else in there? It's recommended because that's the best performance you're going to get. They have done it for you. Pay attention. Or you got the idiots that say, well, and another idiot that says, I'll get to these two plugs in a second. Someone says, well, they're like a diesel. As long as it glows, it's good. Well, that's also not true, because these are not a diesel engine. This is a diesel RC engine. It's actually not RC, it's for a control line engine, but you get the idea. They don't have a glow plug. That thing on top is to adjust the compression ratio, and they run on a much different kind of fuel. These are glow engines. They're still a 2-stroke, like that one, that purple one I'm talking about. That's a 4-stroke glow engine. But they are not a diesel. Diesel glow plugs are much, much different. And most of you which work on diesels, I'm sure there's a few of you guys watching, understand that a diesel glow plug is a long plug, something like that screwdriver, that sits somewhere in the cylinder head near the injector usually. Or it has a grid heater if you have a Cummins, which is like a big kind of heater element like on your stove, and it heats the air to suck it into the cylinders. But you'll have say if you have an old IDI, for example, or something. So this will sit somewhere in the cylinder head, near the injector, and this will heat up. It'll turn red hot. And that is to help heat the air in the cylinders and after the engine's running, it turns off. Now, here's the thing is, these don't act anything like that. Focus, you fuckhead. Come on. So anyways, these kind of glow plugs don't act anything like that. That little coil in there is made of tungsten wire, and it's coated in platinum and palladium, and a few other things. So what happens is, when you heat that glow plug up, it actually has a catalytic reaction with the methanol that's in the fuel, and that plug will stay lit the entire time the engine is running. A catalytic reaction, like a catalytic converter. If you put a certain kind of fuel through there and heat it, it'll glow red hot and burn. That's how these work. Hence the reason why, if your car is running with a glow igniter on, you take off the glow igniter and the engine just stops, instantly stops. That's because the platinum and the precious metals have burned away on that plug, and it can no longer sustain the catalytic reaction by itself. So if anyone tries to tell you these are a high compression diesel engine, they're an idiot. That is a high compression diesel engine. Anyways, so moving on, we have an idle bar plug. You could run these in an RC car if you really wanted to. They're usually an ultra hot plug, and they're usually for airplanes. The reason, oh, for fuck's sakes, the reason why they have that strap there, or idle bar, like that, if my phone will focus. Oh, come on, you dick face. Anyways, you can see it there. Right there. There we go. So that is to prevent the fuel from splashing the coil so much, and it's a redundancy feature. So if your plane's way up in the air, you don't want that to stop working. You don't, because otherwise your shit's going to come plummeting to the ground, unless you can glide it. So a lot of airplanes, I think this engine even recommends an idle bar plug. Those don't. But also a 4-stroke plug is a super hot plug. That big, heavy, huge coil in there to light all that fuel off in that 4-stroke. So don't go running these in any 2-stroke glow engines. Understand what plugs you need for your engine. And idle bar plugs, I've seen people run them in stuff like the old OS engines here. People say, oh, it makes them tune better, perform better. I haven't seen it personally. They still will stall and bog if shit's not adjusted right. But now a lot of people have said, oh, turbo plugs are interchangeable with standard plugs. These three being standard. These are obviously out of question here because we're not running those in RC cars. How in the fuck is this plug right here supposed to be interchangeable with that one? The threads are physically larger. The whole body of it's larger. And that sealing surface right there, because all these use that copper O-ring like this, right? To seal it right here against the top of the head button right here. And people says, oh yeah, throw a turbo plug in there, man. Turbo. Sounds cool, doesn't it? They don't work. You have to have a special head button to use these plugs. If you don't, it will not work. It won't even fit in there. Tell me how that's going to fit. Where? That taper doesn't even pass that seating area. You can't do it. So the myth that you can use turbo plugs in a standard reach engine is horseshit. Absolute bullshit. Doesn't work. You have to have a special cylinder head or head button machined just for turbo plugs. And there's also no gasket that goes here. It's a tapered fit. And also, if you guys didn't know, OS plugs, or Japanese engine plugs rather, and Italian engine plugs like Pico or Nitro RC or whatever, use a different taper. And I'm talking about the taper right here, that tapered angle where my screwdriver's sticking to. My phone's being a total dick face here with focusing. But you guys can see that taper right there where my screwdriver's pointing at. So that taper is different between European and Japanese engines. So keep that in mind. But as far as people telling you these things are a diesel like this engine, no, they're not. There's no such thing as a 4-stroke nitro. Well, there's one. 2-stroke nitro, there's one. There's another one. Oh, look, another one back there. And then all glow plugs are the same. Don't listen to them. They're idiots. Trust me. There's just so much disinformation out there, and I'm trying to myth bust all of it. So there's going to be another video coming up here, probably tonight, talking more about bearing seals and all that kind of stuff. So, and fuels and whatever else. So stay tuned for that, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Keep on burning nitro out there. Later. Happy Monday.